My name is Sean League. You might know me from League Estates or ID Engineering or my famous novels you've never heard of, 1936 or Ring Ship Discretion. But today we're going to be talking about a kind of a mundane topic, accounting, and how I used to use QuickBooks. I've used QuickBooks for 10 years or more, and at first I just used the on the computer model, so I just paid for it once and I used it for nine or 10 years, and then my CPA needed me to upgrade so I could integrate with his system. But once I upgraded, then I had to pay for the subscription, and the subscription keeps going up every year. And then I hit 14,000 overall customers for all those years, and QuickBooks immediately upgraded me to Enterprise. It's over $1,000 for the subscription, which is, to me, with the quality of QuickBooks, it's like working with a Windows 95 program. It's kind of user hostile. It's not very user friendly. So, and QuickBooks isn't worth $1,000 or more a year to me. $200, yeah, maybe. It's such a pain to deal with. So I said, well, wait a minute. Grok or any AI has helped me do all kinds of things. Like I can convert databases into spreadsheets, into I asked it. I have a list of names and addresses for League Estates, and I say, "Hey, can you put this in a printer format, label format?" And a few seconds later, bloop, there it is. This saves me 30, 40 minutes of time of cutting and pasting names into Word or something. So I said, "Well, maybe it can help me write a program." And I am not a programmer, so the most I know is some HTML from long ago and maybe a little basic, but definitely not a programmer. So I decided last month. I went to Grok and I said, hey Grok, can you help me write an accounting program? And Grok's like, sure. Where do you want to start? So I gave it a description of what I want. I need a sales page, obviously. I've got to put in the person's name and address and the item number, or the item product name and number and that kind of thing, and the total, and print a receipt and things like that. So it said, well, first you need it decided to make it web-based, so it would actually use the browser, as you can see right here. So I've got the idea accounting. This is after about a month of building. It took me 3 days to actually build the overall system, but I've been tweaking it and making it better and adding little features that have made it really nice, actually. I actually like it better than QuickBooks now. It has a lot of features that QuickBooks didn't have. And it also has some that it doesn't have. So there's a lot of stuff in QuickBooks that you don't need if you're just a regular small business. But anyway, so I've got invoices, estimates, sales here. So I can create invoice, import it into sales. I've got the sales here, and then I have the whole list of all the customers that have bought from me, and I can sort the list by date, time, or by name, by product. I set that all up. And what's nice here is, like, for example, I add a customer. I can just paste the name and address in there, and it knows the top line's a name. It'll automatically fill the name in the top, so it's just one cut and paste, and it fills everything in automatically. So in that way, it's much easier than QuickBooks. And QuickBooks, for example, on QuickBooks, you can't search by PO number. So if you have hundreds of purchase orders, you can't search for it. Well, on this, I can. So I've added a lot of things that I really like, and I'll show you how to do that over the series of this, or over the course of the series. But I'm also going to show you how to build each page out and all the mistakes to avoid, things that cost me lots of time. Like Grok only has a limited amount of memory. It can only remember several hours or so many pages of information before it starts forgetting things. And then it starts to assume. And when it starts to assume, things go awry. So I'll show you how to avoid that, because I've made those mistakes at the beginning, and it just, it's awful. So you definitely want to avoid that stuff, because if you change the variables, like for example, purchase dash order, it changes to purchase underscore order, stuff starts to break. And then it can take you hours to figure out what the freak happened. So, all right. So first I want to start with, why should I build my own? Well, first thing is save money. The other was just, can I do it? Can AI do it? And what I've discovered, it sure can. So this is about 30,000 lines of code. So some of these pages are 3,000, 4,000 lines. And I've got two companies in here. I've got my ID engineering company, and then I have League Estates, which is my real estate company, which is not complicated. That's just transactions and expenses. It's pretty simple. But I was able to put both in there. I built the ID engineering company first, and then I added the second company, which I wish I had done both in the beginning, because then I had to add a product ID to every product to say if it's company 1 or company 2. So these are things you learn as you go along. Hopefully I'll teach you how to do that before you make the mistakes I made. So, all right. So the first thing we need to do, I asked it to build a sales page, and it says, all right, we'll build it on HTML so you can display it on Firefox or Chrome or whatever browser you're using, and it'll all work on any kind of system, and it'll also work on your phone. But I haven't done that part yet, but it shouldn't be hard to export it to your phone to make it work there too. And I can also, since my computer has become a server, I can set it up for my entire network, so I can access this from anywhere in the network. But I haven't set up the security to do that yet, because I only use it on my main computer. It's just accounting for my businesses, and I do it all. Nobody else does it. So I haven't put all those security stuff in place, but I think it's fairly trivial with Grok showing me how to do it. So then you have to set up a back end. Let me see if I can bring up the chart here. So here's the chart of my system. So we've got the estimates and the invoices, and the estimates lead to create an invoice. The invoices will create a sales page once the customer decides yes, they want it and they've paid. It goes into sales, and then if I don't have the product, I click purchase orders and put the purchase order in. Okay, and then when I get the purchase order, I click receive inventory, and you scroll through the purchase order, or you type in the purchase order to find it. And of course, there's sales tax here. So anytime I'm selling something in California, it charges sales tax, and it remembers that, because that's handy at the end of the year. And I customize the sales tax so that it shows me how much, all the things I need to fill in the sales tax report, they're all on one page. So I just transfer the numbers to the California, sales tax form, and it's super easy. Where QuickBooks, I had to kind of go mine for this and mine for that. It would show me the total taxes to pay, but it wouldn't show me, how much income did I make in California, how much income did I make out of California, all those things. You had to go find them all. So this is nice. I just make it so it's all in one place. Bills, bills are just like expenses, but also paying the received inventory. So when I click that received inventory there, it receives the inventory on the PO, puts it in inventory, and then creates a bill. And then that bill is not an expense, so it doesn't put it against your expenses. It just puts it as a bill. And then I've got my inventory page, my customers page, keep track of those, my vendors, people I buy stuff from, and my transaction history. So if I want to go find out what did Johnny Jones buy a year ago or something, I can find that. Or I can actually search by product, which is another thing that QuickBooks had a tough time doing. Is if I want to search by who bought this 400-XQG product, and when was that, I can search by that. So and then reports is just how much profit did I make, how much income. I've just made some basic charts, and I have business partners, so I actually had it split out all of their income and my income and expenses versus their percentage of ownership of the business. So that's something I also customize, which that's really handy too. It's super fast, so I can calculate at the end of the month how much profit they made. I can write them a check. That's really saves me a lot of time too. So that's really nice to be able to customize this stuff. And with the help of Grok, customizing is pretty easy. So just say, hey, I want to do this in plain English, and it will help you do it. All right, for the back end, we've got a SQL database that keeps track of all the records of, all the product, all the names. I mean, everything's in there. They all have. They're all in the database to be accessed by the system. So the server is what goes and looks at the database, looks for what you're calling for from the web pages, and the web pages go through an API to talk to the server and tell the server, hey, I need this information, and the server goes and finds it in the database and then sends it to the web pages to display it for you. Okay, and we actually use, for the front end, we use what's called React and Tailwind and CSS, and that's just telling you how your page should look. How do you want, like I've created nice little boxes around the sections, so it's easy. It's not just a bunch of text and you can't find where you are. So I create boxes around each section, make it look nice. And if you look at the, no, not that. So if you look at here, so I've got these sections here, like the record a sale is a different section than the convert invoice, and then import sales. And then you can see down here that I've got the edit, delete, and print. And the print just prints to a PDF, which you can download or print to your printer. Okay. And then another thing I did too is I actually created color coding that you could change for every page. So you know that you're on sales or invoices, you're on income if it's green. If you're on bills, then it's red, because red is bad. It means you gotta pay. So, and sales tax is also red. I just changed the colors to know that I'm on a different page without having to look at the title. Just inherent, just giving you a clue that you're not typing on the invoice page versus the sale page versus the purchase order page. So just help you avoid mistakes. So this is just kind of a simple overview, and I'm going to go into the next iteration here. On the next episode, we're going to talk about the sales page. We'll just start with that and what to do. And working with Grok is really easy, but there are some things you got to watch out for, and there are limitations with what it's allowed to do too. So we'll go through all that. Okay, so in the next episodes, we're going to be going over setting up the project. How to set up the server, how to set up the database, how to set up the API interface, and start building the pages. Excuse me. And then what pages you probably need, and I'll assume that you're just running a small business, buying and selling stuff, because that's pretty simple to set up. Now this accounting system that I built is just a simple accounting system. Like I said, it's not a lot of security in it. So if I change something, it doesn't record that. Like on QuickBooks, you can't just go erase something or change something without it recording that, because it's meant to keep a log of what you do. So you can't have some staff member say, "Oh, we'll just erase that transaction and pocket the money," that kind of thing. So this does not have that, although you could ask Grok to put that in, I'm sure, but I have not done that. So this is just a program for me. So I'm going to put this program up on GitHub, and anybody's free to download it and improve it and re-upload it. So I'm hoping we can make an even better program. Be great to have an open source version of an accounting program that actually works and it's user friendly. So I did this for me, but why not let everybody else use it? Because I'm sure that I know other people that have this problem. They can't stand QuickBooks, but they're stuck with it. So, and QuickBooks knows that, so that's why they keep raising the price, because there really isn't a great alternative that's not ridiculously expensive, like some professional program. So, okay, the next thing we'll do is we'll build the core features, the bills, the sales page, reports, inventories, all that stuff, and then we'll fix the bugs, or I'll let you know how to fix the bugs ahead of time, and bugs that have really taken me down for a long time. I've had everything working, and then something breaks, and it breaks for 6-8 hours. I can't figure out what's wrong, and neither can Grok. And I'll explain to you what some of those things were that really threw us for a loop. And when you finally find them, it's just stupid. So we'll go through some of those, and then how to customize the page, and pretty much it's all custom. So we'll definitely do that. And then finally, one thing I'm still working on is I want to make it installable. So I want to create an install folder that I can put up on the web, and anybody can download it and install this on their system, and it'll just work. Because right now I had to install all the different pieces, the server, the back end, the database, the web pages. I create a folder for that. So there's probably maybe 50-60 files that are involved, plus installing them on your system. So that's a lot of work. So what I'd like to do is make this an installable, but I'll show you how the system, or Grok, helped me actually set it up just for my system. And the nice thing is, if you don't know what to ask Grok, tell it, "Hey, I don't know what to do. What should I ask you?" Grok will go through, ask me this. it's actually really intelligent as far as programming. It really knows its stuff. So if you don't know, ask. And if you want to have features or whatever, just ask, how do I do this? And then it'll tell you, install this program, install that program. It'll say, oh, put this line here. And if you don't understand, you say, where? I don't understand what you're talking about. Can you show me where to put it? And it'll show you, here's the surrounding code, put it here. Or it'll rewrite the entire code, although that's not possible once you get past, say, about 3,000 lines of code. Then Grok has a tough time doing it all at once. You'll have to actually split it into 2, 3, or 4 pieces, or you just have it give you sections, and you can just give the sections, you copy and paste and put it in there. And at first I was just using Notepad to write these the HTML for these programs and the JavaScript, but then I got let's see. But then later I downloaded Notepad++, and this program it's like Notepad, but it's really made for programming. So it actually highlights in color what parts do what, and it made it a lot easier. And then you can see that it sorts it into sections. So I got these little plus and minuses here. So like this section here, this navigation section, that represents this navigation bar at the top. And so it was really a lot easier using that. And when I'm cutting and pasting from Grok into there, it'll say, go from this tag to this tag, and it kind of shows me where to go. So I just find that tag, I do a little F search for it, and find the end tag, and I just highlight that, and then I copy from Grok and paste, and then save, and hopefully it works. If it not, you just put the error in, and Grok looks at the error and says, oh, well, you got to fix this now. So. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that first episode. Just giving you an overall overview of what we're going to do, and stay tuned for the first episode. I'll probably have the first episode out in a few days, and if you would just go ahead and like and subscribe and ring that bell so you can get the notification when it comes out. And basically, if I can program this and not being a programmer, then you can too. So I think anybody with half a brain and Grok, which is the whole brain, together, it's amazing what you can do. And I'll navigate you through some of the hurdles that really slowed me down. And you should be able to do it much faster than I did it with knowing what not to do. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day.